Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you are having an exhilarating day. And today I've got something special for you. Today we're going to be speaking with Victor from the Buggeman channel. And we're going to be looking at some pretty amazing pictures of star forts and star fort anomalies in particular. And this is going to be stuff that you wouldn't have seen before. These are from very old books and I've never seen anything like this myself. So you are in for a treat. So without any further delay, let's get Victor in. Are you there, Boogeyman?
Yeah, the Buggeman. Yeah, I know it's hard to pronounce. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's a play on the Boogeyman because
Boogie,
we're boogeymen that are coming and scaring people.
Not in the disco, no.
No.
And yeah, today we're going to go through some pictures, of star forts. Oh my gosh! And there we go. All right, so let's jump straight into it. So these are all Victor's images, and so we'll just let us know what this one is, Victor. This is interesting. It's round.
I made a compilation of pictures that I will call star fort anomalies. There is like certain things about star forts that need to be, related to their common narrative of how star forts operate and what they were used for. So when I've been scanning through old archives, I have been sometimes finding some peculiar details about star forts that seem anomalous. What we're looking at here is an extraordinary book I found over a year ago, and it has star forts and fortifications on a whole nother scale. What this is I would like to point to you is like a fortification type which is really, really weird in a defense type of manner, because they're saying that these moats are the defense, and then within the central structure you have this tower, right?
The moats and the tower.
Yeah, so the moats are like sloped. It would be easy to run up as soldiers against these moats, and when you got to the tower you would really have the real task at hand to get through the tower. But what this looked like to me is not like a defensive structure. It looks like a factory or a foundry.
Yes, very much.
Like when you see that central structure, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 stories. And if it's an old world building, then the stories are probably gonna be taller or, more far apart than our stories today in buildings, right? Our levels, because those people were taller back then. So this is a very tall tower. Why would you need such a tall tower in the middle of a star fort? And it's something that you will see as a theme in my pictures, that I've been compiling small redoubt star forts where they put a large central tower in the middle of them. And I've been wondering, why would you need that? Like a tall tower in the middle of a star fort. So I'll just leave that up to you and the audience.
Because we're told that it's the outer walls, the star shape, that is the defense, because we're told it's all against cannon fire.
Yeah, cannon fire. Exactly. And that will perhaps in this episode or the other that we're making come a picture that will show that star forts were built way before the invention of cannon fire. So that completely blows their narrative.
Nice. And the internals here, it's almost like machine looking, isn't it? It's like, especially this way, how this is sectioned off into 4. It's got a gap, and then we've got a whole closed thing, and all these. Yeah, it's very machine-like. I mean, almost magnetic, isn't it? Like if these were.
It looks like a gear.
Different poles.
But what you also notice, right? It has that battery shape, because it has that elongated section to the left, and then it has a round circle around it. So that's the battery shape.
Like the core in
And
there, exactly.
it's also, the battery shape is also in the shape of the Shiva Lingam.
Okay.
The
Which
Shiva Lingam is like a Hindu
is
sacred
that?
symbol,
Yeah,
but it's also made into stone in
in
a
the
lot of on a
statues and
lot of
things,
temples.
isn't it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it has that exact same shape with a little. It's like the digital on symbol when you turn something on. That's
Mm.
that's comparable symbol to that shape. It has like that elongated section in one end of the circle, and then the rest of the circle is evenly.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I can picture it now. Yeah,
yeah,
it's sort of wider, but yeah, it has a circle and then a wide bit coming out here, doesn't it? Yeah.
indeed. And also just think about the level of engineering this would have required to make the circular modes perfectly circular and make that central tower in the middle. It requires something. It would cost millions of dollars to perform something like this today.
It would, and you can see the bottom of it here is exactly level with the bottom of the moats. Then we've got
Yeah,
infill. Then we've got these lands on top, and yeah, these 3 stories are below ground.
indeed. So we're perhaps looking at a 10-story building within a fort.
Yeah,
Um, it's
wonder if
it's really crazy, and
it
these
is.
types of structures are not left in the world today. I
No,
bet you that these types of structures were targeted because they couldn't be left. And
functioning.
if you look in the middle section again, it has those gears. It reminds me of, if you have you watched Ed Litzkalnin's Coral Castle?
Yep, yep, yep.
He has a wheel that
The
he
wheel.
says is
Mm,
used to perform something magnetic to make them levitate,
the fly.
and
Mm.
reminds me a lot of this.
Yes, well, that's
Uh,
what I'm thinking. If these are opposite poles, and this in the middle, like if this was all negative or something, and this was positive, would that make that spin?
yeah, that's a very. I love that
Huh?
you said that, because a thing that I have in my pictures that we will come through eventually is the rotating forts, and I found some references to the old American wars where they built these structures out in the sea and they were able to rotate them.
Wow.
So they would rotate 360. And something that is really weird about that is they said that they needed that to have a larger range with the cannons. But if you really think about it, these structures, they have supposedly cannon holes in each and every angle nearly. So rotating them is pretty redundant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Ridiculous.
rotation would be for something else, I guess. The rotation would be for mechanical power.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Or just as a function of whatever the machine was doing.
Indeed.
Mm. And I mean, if they're building these in the ocean too, I mean, a bit reminiscent of a lighthouse shape, isn't it?
Yeah, it reminds me also
You know, they're quite
of
round.
do you know that tower in France? Tour de Cordouan?
No.
Well, the audience can look that up, because let's go to the next picture.
Next one. Yep, yep.
Oh, I love this one. This
Yeah,
is
this is
Paris.
okay.
And the central part of Paris there, it has 33 kilometers of bastion walls around it.
Oh, around here.
Yeah, that's 33
Oh,
kilometers
wow. And they're
exactly.
all, yeah, right. They're all triangles the whole way.
The whole way, yeah. So it's a quite unique fortification style. And if you zoom out a bit, you will see the readout ring very clearly here on this
Yeah,
depiction.
yeah.
Look at
Around
that.
here, have all these like citadel sort of forts.
Yeah,
Wow.
these are what we would normally say are citadels.
Mm.
But look at them here.
Oh, oh, what have I done? Sorry. Oh, God.
Oh, you're making me anxious.
I'll stop clicking. Yeah, wow.
Oh
Okay,
well,
so this wall, we've got the city, and also I just noticed the amount of cathedrals in here.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
that's something I've been noticing too. In some old shots I've got, I think, cathedrals are also, they're just synonymous with the actual star forts. They're actually, I think, a part of the whatever they are, the mechanism, I don't know, maybe they're just part of
Oh yeah,
the,
13th Monkey will love you saying that. If you notice in our map, we actually place the stars when we mark the stars. We place them on the cathedrals for that reason.
oh, okay. Because, yeah, I did, I did a video and I was looking at one and I couldn't find the walls, but I went down, I could find the cathedrals exactly where they should have been. And then I
Indeed.
noticed that they're in all the plans. They're like not plans, I guess, but in the drawings of the old drawings, they're always noted as part of the fort.
Yeah. To me, I think it is I think the cathedrals perform the exact same task as the pyramids would do. They're just built in another style. It's just another form of pyramid, so to speak. That's just something that came to me the other day, that I would think that the pyramids are a specific type of cathedral, and the cathedral is a specific type of pyramid. They're both performing the same function.
Mm.
Um,
What are you
and what
thinking?
I
Sound or?
well, if you look back into like Hermeticism, they say it was for initiation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so you would go in there. So there's definitely something going on with sound, because in the modern era, you could get like a digital program that would play certain frequencies into your ears, and they say that was for certain experiences in your mind. So that was a type of initiation in the modern era. You could get like I can't remember the name of the program. I shouldn't perhaps be advertising it, but you could get like certain frequencies that would be called like the gates of Hades. And if you
Oh,
listen to that in 20 minutes, you would start hallucinating, and some would have
oh,
horrific experiences. And
yeah.
I think that is the deal with all the frequency geometry that are in those buildings, because they they are able to tune in on certain frequencies and maintain those frequencies. And I think that was one of the specific functions.
Nice. Because, yeah, there's a channel called Mark Fio. Have you seen? He's got a video called, I think it's Antique Buildings, but he looks at cathedrals. And you know how when you look from the top, a lot of them have got the cross, that sort of
Hmm.
cross bit. Under all those cross bits is always an internal dome.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like a sphere of gold or something.
yeah, like
And
a half sort of dome up in the ceiling, and then below
yeah,
that is there's always this tiling patterns, like sort of chevrons and those sort of Indian looking, interconnected Celtic looking designs, and even checkerboards. And he was talking about how the with sound it goes up into these domes, focuses in the middle where we have like the pointy bit, and then below it you've got all these tiles, which is basically rock of different density, and he was saying that acts as a circuit board.
yeah. That is, I think, partly also what we can say about the star forts. They look like giant circuit boards in many instances.
Mm.
Some are completely symmetrical, and others are this broken natural pattern that actually looks like a cell wall, or yeah, it looks organic, naturally evolved, so to speak. Like the streets on the old cities are crooked, and but yet they are perfect in a way.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like every single one is different, which is why I think that they must have something to do with frequency, and they've been attuned to where they're actually to where they are, to the different energies on the grid and everything. And I think that's why we get different. It's like different frequencies in cymatics and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. And I
Mm.
think that these readout systems around Paris we're seeing here play into a sort of a communication hub, if you look at them, they have like a very large pole flag in the middle of them, each and every one of them. And like I feel like that they are called signal forts in many instances. So they're signaling something, and that has to do with communication, and that is useful in all sorts of ways. But why would you make a ring around a city? That also kind of I think it adds to the idea of some sort of protection. In like it could be it doesn't need to be like war protection. It could be protection from something else. Something that is also noteworthy is that they are situated on small little hills.
Yeah, I was just going to say that along here,
And
and then one big hill along here.
Yeah, that could mean that they are also mining outposts, and that these hills are being mined, quarried underground. Because something I've noticed and that we will see in my my pick dump here is that some of them have tunnels underground and they're doing something with them.
Well, you definitely see that a lot in the forts in Australia and New Zealand, the older ones that they've turned into, World War II forts.
Yeah.
And supposedly a World War II forts, they've always got tunnels all underneath them, and you often find outposts where the tunnels pop out,
Yeah, indeed. And so it's like a communication system, and it could also, these tunnels, sometimes they have evidence of some sort of rust on some of the metal, and they have small little stalactites from the roof sometimes, which would indicate that running water went through them.
Okay.
And yeah, so these tunnels, even though they have small little windows that seem to be for sticking out your gun and firing, it could be for something entirely different. It could be for underground aqueducts.
Some kind
What
of
could you
valve
use?
system.
Yeah, what could you use underground aqueducts in a forest? Like if you put water into like a tunnel like that and force it into a confined space, you can create a flow, and that flow could be useful for sending small packets of commerce. Imagine like a siphoning system or a pneumatic communication system where you're siphoning through pressure and a tube small little messages and notes that you could send around in a system underground.
Wow, like those systems we see in big supermarkets that go up in the ceiling.
Indeed. That would be quite
Wow.
easy. It would be cost effective. It would be natural, and it would be available to people in this era, at least as an idea.
Yeah.
So who's to say that the aqueducts were never used as waterways to actually send in small little boats packets of products and food and messages?
Definitely, yeah, without having to leave your outpost. Because I
Indeed.
mean, water's definitely part of these. That they all have, obviously have the moats, and that this one's got a river going straight through it, which we see a lot as well. They're always a lot of them on the coast, on rivers, so water's definitely a part of them.
Yeah, it seems to be like the law of these outfits in many cases, that water is going to play a part. But we also find the mountainous alpine forts that have no water connected to them from the outside. But Mike, he's theorizing that with those instances, there will be a natural spring, perhaps below the fort.
Yeah.
That will probably be some sort of water underneath it then. But yeah, let's jump to the next one. Because this ties a little bit more into like the communication idea. Here you see like 3 star forts.
1, 2, 3.
And they have these towers in the middle of them with large spires on them. They look like some sort of antenna system.
Yeah. So this is the central Star City, and these are 2 outposts, yeah?
Perhaps, yeah. Or they're all 3 outposts. I'm not sure.
But yeah.
Look at that.
Exactly right. And I mean, you wouldn't need a lot of tech or anything really to send signals from there, that kind of distance on tall towers, would you?
No, and
Wouldn't
you
it?
mentioned that that a lot of the spires have these cupolas underneath the crosses. And
Yeah.
I saw yesterday that in 1920s in the US there were some guys creating a vehicle that pulled electricity out of the air, and this device, this motor, which was an atmospheric device, or atmospheric electricity motor, kind of like Tesla's idea, right? This little motor had two balls as an anode and a cathode sticking out of the top of the motor, two metal spheres, just as we would see
So
on the
yeah.
top of those metal antennas. And I have some pictures showing that they're making liquid metal mercury antennas today that
Oh.
has a little ball on and at the bottom of the antenna with a large sticking spire out on the top of it.
Really?
Yeah, they experiment with those today, and there's like this Ukrainian guy on YouTube. He made a mercury ball antenna for his TV, and then he put his
Mm.
TV out in
I've seen that
like in the
out in the
middle of
field.
nowhere. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And then he called CNN from Russia or Ukraine.
Yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah, he was tuning into American TV or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And it was
that's
just
done
like
by
rabbit
that.
ears, wasn't it? Just a little rabbit ears kind of antenna.
Yeah, well, I
Wasn't
actually
big.
have something. I have on in my other pictures, Campbell. I have actually a what could you call it? It's like a little section I have that is called liquid metal ball antenna. I could just quickly show you that,
Yeah,
um,
sure.
because then we can get back to the star footage. It won't be
Yep.
long. What did I call it? Metal ball antenna?
Middle.
Something like
Yep.
that. I just need to find it. Oh yeah, mercury ball antenna. Right. Okay, so I'll start my screen share then.
Yep.
Let me
Yep.
know
I'll give it a
when it's
mark.
good. Are you seeing my screen?
Not yet. Yep. Can see it now.
Okay. Look at this. You see? Breakthrough in liquid metal antenna. And this is 2015. And this is what you would have on the
Wow.
top of the spires. Yeah. So
It's very similar, doesn't it?
indeed. So very similar
There they
to
are.
there they are. You see, they have the exact same, only just like a pole sticking up, a ball. Isn't
Wow.
that quite? Yeah, it just those two pictures made me appreciate these buildings a lot. When and this is in the 1600s, and they're building these metal balls. That just
Yeah.
implies that these guys have an immense technical skill.
I was gonna say, how do you build one of those?
Indeed. And this flag up here is metal as well, I would guess.
Ah,
Some
okay.
sort of
So
purpose it has.
could be a directional type thing, maybe.
Indeed, indeed. Very much so. A bit better quality here. And you see they have these reservoirs, these sockets.
Yeah.
Also here, same kind of deal. And here.
Oh, hey, nice.
Yeah, I have much of that of this stuff. And this is from Kircher's Machina Magnetica. And they're showing these balls and all sorts of weird stuff around about them.
Nice.
Like this
Magnetica, because I was going to say, yeah, the Vimanas from the Sanskrit texts are said to have had mercury in them, which gave them anti-grav property through
Indeed.
electromagnetism somehow.
Exactly. So mercury is really a common denominator in all this research that binds us together with the ufologists.
Yeah.
I'll just make people notice these wires down here. I don't know what they could be, but they're connected, these balls, and it has like this under section. I have no idea what they are. So yeah,
Yeah, well,
just a little. This is Starfort related. So when you see on the points of the
oh,
Starforts, they have these constructions, and
wow.
here you can see that
Oh,
they have.
okay. These are the towers. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I was
Yeah,
looking at the ones going. They had round ones. Yeah, okay.
so they have these on the towers. They
The
will
top.
have
Yeah.
some sort of tag on top of them on the
Ah, okay.
Starforts. Here you see balls.
Hmm.
So yeah, the here you have in old Sri Lanka, I think it is, or India, some sort of temple with a ball on top of it, very much Phoenician looking like.
Yep.
Here, very old woodcut from 1500s, showing some sort of weird check with the balls.
Wow.
Oh yeah, this one is extraordinary. Look at this.
Wow. I
So
mean,
yeah,
how do
these
they
metal
even
balls.
make those with this ball sitting on the top? Because that's the top of that antenna is pretty thin.
Yeah, this is an. I think this is the Paris Exposition.
Oh,
Um,
really?
no, sorry. I think this may be a German
Um,
one.
German exposition, so it's probably been burnt, burnt to the ground.
Yeah,
Uh,
they are calling this the California building, and it looks Moorish.
it doesn't look like California, does it? No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, these are the civilian or oh no, not the civilian, sorry, the Sevilla in Sevilla, Spain towers. They have these balls also very
Ah,
beautiful.
well, everywhere. And another thing you see, like today, a lot of people use the balls, as ornaments in their garden on their fences and things, but they're just cement now. They're just like a cement ball. Do you see that? Oh, we
Yeah,
see
yeah, I have.
all
They
over the
do
place in
that.
Australia.
They do that in Denmark as well. It's weird. People
Mm,
just like the spear as a form, I guess.
yeah, well, it's
Um,
almost like it's such a familiar form that it's kind of, and I don't know, it's like in a memory or something, and it's just, we've just been told, oh no, there's no, no tech there. It just looks like a ball. Here, buy a cement one, and everyone's like, oh, okay.
indeed.
Nothing to
Like,
see here.
and it's the same with this. This is like I found this out through Sylvie Ivanova from New F channel. She showed like this is like a atmospheric electricity device of modern era. And look at this. It has that same
Wow,
thing.
again.
Even has like a cross kind of deal on the top.
Yeah, and look at that. That's also, I mean, you see that everywhere, don't you? Bull
Indeed.
horns, is that what we call it?
Yeah, yeah, I think
That's
so.
everywhere, especially in Egyptian photos. You see it everywhere, that shape.
Indeed. It also looks like the anchor a bit.
Ah, yeah, right, with the top bit on it, definitely.
Like the anchor and the ankh of the Egyptians and the cross are basically the same thing.
Same thing, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anchor, I never got that before. Nice.
And I wondered whether these balls here, right, are powering this
These. Well, look at that. Three balls, three wheels.
and transporting cattle.
Yeah, right.
This is like in a museum, but I found this little booth to be very interesting.
Yeah. Because that does look like the top of a spire, that thing, didn't it? Like, yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
look at these though. You see, they even drew them in as if they're like discharging.
You're doing something.
Yeah,
Looks a bit
and
like
look at the and also
warden
the
boots.
chevrons.
Ah, nice. Nice.
You can see they have knobs on them, so these
Yeah,
were
yeah.
probably lights. Yeah. This is the
And
lighting. This is the freaking lighting system of old
old world.
days. Yeah, for entertainment purposes. It's crazy.
And just all,
That,
oh God, look at the size of that statue.
that's in Toscana, and it's like a military exhibition,
Okay, like a tattoo or
and it's showing like the military garments or outfits of Europe, America, Asia, and Africa. So this is the old world, like the old empire would have included all of these four.
something.
Yeah, this is Atlas, and Atlas
Yeah,
is
yeah.
normally shown holding up the sphere Earth, but no, in the old world, Atlas was only holding up the celestial sphere.
Okay, and these are the star signs.
Yeah, you have the scales of Libra here.
Oh, look
You
at
have
that.
Scorpio there, Virgo, Leo, and Cancer.
Wow. What year is this from, do you know?
This is from the 1600s, going off of my memory. I think there's a way to figure out the time down here.
And you said, oh, it does, America. What?
Yeah,
How,
yeah, but it is
how did
post.
that work?
It is post Columbus.
Yeah, 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 it would be post, but I mean, what, 100 years post, and then what are they saying? That I mean, America wasn't America then; it wasn't independent, and if they come back to show
Yeah,
off their uniforms in Europe or something,
yeah, this would be way before the independence. Yes.
yeah, that's just
Yeah, so that's a good way. That's a good question. Yeah. Also notice giants,
yes, nice, nice.
or they could be kids, of course, but
Well,
I don't think so.
no,
I don't think they would put kids in military outfits like this unless they had
no,
like children's armies. But yeah, I don't
wow,
know. They
no,
just seem like
no. Well, they did have the
yeah,
what
but
the
like this is the technology that these balls play into. Like here you can see one light up, and this is more like this is allegory, of course, but it shows the common technology of the day.
mm.
Um, this one, like large spire,
Wow,
and the gardens, and it even has like a little one over here as well. This is from Russia somewhere. I think it's maybe
okay.
outside of St. Petersburg. And this is like a electrical tower and has like hanging balls that are
Wow.
lighting up. Yeah,
And all these look, I mean, apart from the fact that they look, well, that looks similar to the Eiffel Tower, but I'm thinking Wardenclyffe, Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was very similar to that kind of look,
yeah,
design.
indeed.
Did that have a ball on the top of it? I think it did, didn't it?
Yeah, it was like a ball. It was like an onion dome construction on top
That's
of
right.
it.
Yeah, yeah, on top, that's right, yeah.
Look at these
Wow.
in the Islamic
Huh.
world of a lot in Turkey. A lot of the mosques and like the Hagia Sophia would have had this in antiquity, like these hanging balls with some fringes hanging from. Look at all the plaques here, and also the star.
Nice. It's
And
okay, so
they
yes,
have
see,
happy
this is that
hats.
floor as well, because that's a dome on top, isn't it? Oh, that's a carpet. No, it's a carpet. Okay. But this
Yeah,
is, yeah, remember I mentioned that's the internal domes this guy was talking about and how, and what's interesting, that's hanging right down the middle of it because he was saying sound goes up and then comes down. I wonder if that ball, if it comes down via that ball.
yeah, yeah. And what is exactly doing? Is this just a chain or is it something else? It's so many questions.
It is, yeah. In
Like,
in that video, he was talking about silk and some of the properties of it and how it was. Oh, I can't even remember what he was saying now, but he definitely mentioned silk. So I'm wondering, they might be silk tassels.
oh yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that could have all sorts of like technological purposes actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mm.
Look at this in the I think it's either the Barcelona exposition or it's the Brazilian Rio de Janeiro exposition. But
Oh gosh.
yeah, oh,
Wow. And that one's actually, that looks like the ball is actually giving off light.
yeah, but
Actually
just look at
sort
the scale of this.
oh, I mean, it's ridiculous. Look at the size as well.
And they say this was
Wow.
built temporarily out
Yeah.
of like plasterwork and stuff, wood. It looks
I know. And
weathered.
the best part about that story is they say they were all just, yeah, slapped up out of, with a facade on them. But if you look around the world, how many are still standing? They've got 5 or 6 at least that have been standing for over 100 years.
Yeah, indeed. That's a good point. Like the one in San Francisco, the Fine Palace of Arts, still
Yeah.
standing.
Still standing.
Full
Yeah.
full granite, full
Yep.
marmor. And they said that was the only one that they built from good materials.
Everything else just happened to look exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to notice these. They
Yep,
will
three
be coming
bars.
later.
Yep.
These constructions are seen under the star forts and around the star forts when they say that there's some sieges going on. But I cannot find out how they work within a siege. Like they just seem like I don't know what they are. So
So,
keep those in
what
mind.
underneath it did you say?
Yeah, sometimes I will see them like going underneath these points here. That they will
Oh,
draw these in, and also like just outside. And I think the idea is that when you siege the star fort, you build moats around it, like in World War trenches, and then you dig underneath the star fort. Then you do this kind of construction underneath, and then you put like explosives in these, and
oh,
then you
I
set
see.
them off, and then you have like a chain explosive reaction that blows the wall. But my question is like, if you really will go through all of that hassle just to take out a star fort wall, which would have been easier to take out if you had just had mortar from a distance hurling it, which we
Mm,
always see, like, and you can just surround the star fort and starve it, as the Swedish king did in Germany in the 1600s.
yeah,
So why go through all the hassle of the so-called sapper technology, as they call it? Why
so,
have
yeah,
people like dig trenches for weeks around a star fort to only just dig under it and blow it up? And like, it's so much work.
it is. Yeah,
Like think
it,
about all the food you would need in that, and you would be exposed from the people inside that would be close to you while you're doing your work. Um, it just seems inane.
maybe it's part of the actual fort. I don't know,
Hmm. I
storage
think
or
I think these are part of the forts. I think they are part of some sort of technology, and we will see more of them
or because the other
later.
thing that looks like is the papal. I mean, I know it's showing levels, but the three. It looks like the papal cross. That three. The cross with the three bits on it.
Yeah, yeah. I promised your audience I was going to show them that. Thank you for jogging my memory here. Um, because if you want to know what they are, I can show you these triple crosses. It's
Yep.
very simple. It's actually extremely simple. So here's the Jesuit.
Yep. There it is. Yep.
There it is. So there's also other astronomical devices here. Pay attention, astronomical devices.
Okay. Yep. Okay. I think I know where you're going. Yep.
Except from comets, popular culture, the birth of modern cosmology. This is the Jacob staff, it's also called. The figure planets towards there, which was by this of the application. Conjunction. The conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. And Archimedes both in his Jacob staff beholding.
Ah, look at that. So it's just to
Yep.
give you different horizons in the sky when you're looking, so you can line things up, basically.
It may not only be that, it may also actually be a magnification device where you're looking through it.
Ah. Well, he does look like he's looking through it, doesn't he?
Yep, he is looking through it.
Right. He's looking through it too. Yeah.
There's a lot of old world art showing this. You can see like here closing the eye, or
Ah.
no, it's
Yeah.
going into the eye here, and here again. Also the fasces and the lance with a hat on it is a theme.
Yep. I've seen a few of those different hats, but I've seen a few of those.
So I made a meme here. Ancient telescope. The Hierophant's cross is a telescope.
Nice. All right.
Yeah,
Cross.
a lot of it.
That's well. There you go. I wonder how they worked. Because it just looks like something. Oh, actually, that does look a bit more antique.
Look at that. It looks like it has a little hat on it.
Like a lens, maybe.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, and those side bits.
So this is where
Okay,
I
that's
wanted
just the
to.
tuners.
You remember I mentioned the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter?
Yes, yes.
Well, this is the Hierophant. The Hierophant. He is the spiritual powerhouse. Why does he hold temporal and spiritual power? Because he has this device. Why does he need this device? so he can have knowledge about the conjunction, which he's showing here. This is a sign of benediction, and in esoterica, these two fingers denote Saturn and Jupiter. Holding them up like this is signaling the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. And why would you need to have knowledge about that? Because it is definitive for human affairs. So this is how he keeps his power, by this device.
Now, that conjunction, that's the one that's coming up at the end of this year, is that correct?
Indeed. It's falling on the winter solstice, and and Jupiter. It's going to happen in Capricorn, which is Saturn's house. It's the only house where Jupiter is debilitated. So it's very unique, and Pluto is going to be there as well, which means that a lot of our subconscious fears are going to manifest during this time period. So if you don't program your subconscious in a good manner, until then, you're not preparing your subconscious for something good during that period. So that's why I've been looking at pictures of all sorts of wonderful things, because it's priming my subconscious for that event.
And it's interesting because, the sky, you look around this plane and everything's got to do with the sky, all the layouts of all the ancient structures and pyramids, it's just everywhere. It's all through the theosophy books and religious books, and the sky this and the sky that, but they never tell us why it's so important, do they? It's just, it's just about stars and star signs. But clearly, yeah. Do you think that conjunction is a precursor to something else happening? Because we have things like, the legend of the Blue Kachina and all these things, dragons in the sky.
What happened the last time that the conjunction happened? Then we had 9/11.
Yes.
It was right around 9/11 and that whole shift in consciousness. And what is very important about, they will do a very large ritual every time the conjunction is there to gain an advantage. This time they will have the sky and the stars against them, because Jupiter is going to kick Saturn is going to kick Jupiter in his butt, which means that the power structures are going to take a huge hit, and we're going to have the advantage. But if they install fear in us up until this event, it will diminish our chances of gaining more power during this time. And whatever happens during the conjunction is going to be definitive for the next 20 years until the next conjunction. That's why this period of time is extremely important for them. If they fuck up and they have all odds against them this time, we will have the next 20 years in our bag.
To get rid of them. So yeah, take note of that, people. What's happening in the world at the moment?
Fear.
There's a lot of talk about, the currencies collapsing, gold being made illegal for tender in some countries. It's just fear. Especially this coronavirus. And the coronavirus, they're calling it a pandemic. And in the Western countries, I think it's under 20 people have actually died. So
yeah,
it's not a pandemic. It's just...
the common flu every year is a pandemic, technically.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Also, I think what's the recorded flu deaths this year? It's like up around 30,000.
Yep.
And the coronavirus
is a very mild-mannered flu. It's like saying, oh, there's this gang that's coming to kill you, right? There's this gang of bikers that are coming to kill you, and then when they come, they're actually, and no offense, they're actually like midget bikers.
On little P50s.
Yeah. No offense, we shouldn't, go around and kill each other. So of course. But Campbell, to get us a little bit back on the software.
Yep.
I wanted to show this up here because it has Batar de I would read this as, which would be something of water, because this means water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, and this is a metal sphere.
Yeah.
And if I can direct your attention to this, you'll see this starboard is actually it uses the corner points antennas to light it up, to power it.
Okay.
Also, take note that the gate is actually situated on the starboard wall, so
It's
that
not
that
full.
just destroys the defense idea altogether. Also, like
Mm.
you would be able to breach this gate, and there
Yeah.
would be dead zones here.
Mm,
Also, look at
definitely.
this
That's
guy.
picture.
Look at this guy.
Oh wow. Okay. He's a little tall, isn't he?
He's a little tall. Just look at this spectacle, though.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that is. I wonder if he's come out of this star fort and all these people are not from it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's just the idea about illumination is that whenever they do this, it's like a spectacle for people to behold. So it will go on for 30 minutes and people will stand and watch it like it was fireworks and say, "Ah," and then it will be over because then they don't have any more power to do whatever they're doing. So
Oh, yeah.
that is what they sell us, and they will only do this in like celebrations of something. But this looks like not a quite like it's not really a gathering to watch this. It really looks like.
No, it looks like people just milling around and talking to each other, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know. Are these horses? Is it military or? I don't know. It doesn't look aggressive. This guy just looks like he's walked out and he's kind of saying hello.
If this was really military, a military structure, do you think they would be like doing this?
Okay, guys, halt the fighting. Let's all look at the lights for half an hour, spread some brotherly love, and then we'll go back to killing each other.
Yeah. And I think this is actually the same Petersburg Citadel illuminated.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It says Petersburg, so it's one of the stars near there. And you see they are showing like an Indian type of Aryan with the feathers and
Ah,
a
yeah.
European.
Ah,
This would, I think this is a Tatar.
Tartar. Yeah, yeah.
So
And
that is
what are these
also
pictures? Do we know what these are? Those pictures anything?
what?
The pictures on
Oh,
the walls, are they anything?
yeah, I would think that they're showing outfits here.
No,
So
these
this would
ones
be
you see on the star fort, how we've got these. Is is that just lights
muskets.
here and here? Oh, you probably can't see my cursor. See on
Oh,
the
sorry.
actual, yeah, on the walls, how there's those big bright bits.
Yep.
Are they pictures, do you think, or is it just light?
I think it's a good question. I think they're just light, and I think these are like the symbols with the the military man with no head, and he has all the fasces and the flags and the spears
Okay.
behind him. I think that is this, and it's just lit up here.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
But it's not. The resolution is pretty bad. I have this
Yeah, it
picture
is. Yeah.
I have it in a better resolution somewhere, but I just can't find it. This is on the little Danish island called Bornholm, situated off of the eastern Swedish coast, and in the main city Rønnehavn, it has a very interesting harbor, old world um, lighthouse with a ball. So yeah, I just wanted to show that, and it has
Yeah.
like that rounded
That round
shape
bit.
there.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, it's just harbor constructions are awesome. And here this is a more type of illumination with the balls. And here there looks to be a giant again
Oh yeah.
with a regular type man here. This could be a kid, I don't know.
Yep.
This is definitely a kid,
Yep.
but this looked like a little adult, and this
Mm.
is small. Yeah. And in this depiction, you can also see like a little waiter here or something. You see there's an obelisk in the middle, and there is
Oh,
like a central source that is emanating some sort of bright light, and the vicinity is lit up, and there are even like these metal balls here, and they light up. It's not just like a lantern.
And it's all hanging from the top of the obelisk. All these
Yep.
chains or whatever they are.
Notice these as well. These are screens with lights in them, so that wouldn't be that would be electricity, some sort of electricity.
Yep.
And also notice these here, and these here.
Nice.
And you can see the lighting panels here.
Oh, yeah, okay. They're all, yeah, wow.
Really, really, this technology is actually, when we really like scrutinize it a bit, we can see that this is something we don't know what is.
No, and it definitely wouldn't be drawn like that if it wasn't emanating light or, power or something.
If it was just candles, where's the smoke?
Yeah, yeah. Which is
They
another
don't
thing,
draw.
with all the temples and pyramids and all that, with all the glyphs and painting and artwork inside them, and you never find soot on the ceiling.
No, exactly. Look at this. This is like inside a huge cathedral,
Wow.
and there's like the central light source, so it's
Oh,
really lighting things up. Because look at the long shadows.
yeah.
This, I actually think, may be the altar or the organ doing this.
Okay.
And
So,
look at the level of this light would have been so intense and bright that people would have to turn away.
yeah, I know. Look at these shadows; they're huge.
And it even looks like these people are turned away. It actually, like, when I look at this guy, right, they look to be ice skating.
Yeah, he's got his foot up. Even this guy looks like he's kind of, just cruising, like sliding with his arm out.
Yeah.
It
These
could
pictures
be.
just
Yeah, nice skating ring. I mean, just look at the look of it too. Everyone's sort of on the outside, aren't they?
yeah, like both of these are. If they're just walking, this would be like the Ministry of Silly Walks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually met John Cleese in real life.
Have you?
Yeah, while I was working in Radisson hotels, living under a pseudonym, and it was my first shift. I was just told by my colleague that there's this angry English guy up on the presidential suite, and we haven't been able to locate a cheese knife for this guy for the last 4 hours. It's really embarrassing, and he just wanted a cheese knife and a wine opener. So I found that and went up there and just expected a regular guest, and then opens Mr. Cleese, and I go, Mr. Cleese, and he's like, yes, have you found my cheese knife? And I'm like, yes, I have it right here.
Wow.
Yeah, so I opened his wine and talked for a bit with him, and
You got
he
a
was,
chat?
yeah, but then I learned that he was on Epstein's Island later on, and I was like, duh.
He was on what?
He was on Epstein's Island.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Bloody hell! Because some
Bloody
of
hell.
their early stuff, like Flying Circus, they get right into religion and society and money and everything.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
pretty
well, I think I've done screen sharing now. This was the last one with the ball
lights.
here, and an antenna on top of the ball, and electricity.
Ah, electricity.
And also they're showing buoys
Wow.
here. They're showing buoys in the same. So this is a buoy. So they had electrical buoys, and here they're showing wiring, and there's a scouting light
Okay,
from boats.
so water, like we call them boys, like Buoy, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it may be my pronunciation.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Boy or
yeah,
buoy,
but so floating in the water, yeah, yeah, with its
yeah.
antenna. Wow,
And you can see the flag here is a metal flag.
because it's not waving, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was it.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. Some very, very interesting pics there. A big thank you to Victor for sharing that and all the commentary. I hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Thanks for spending some time with us. And this is also just part one of the video that we've made, so please like, share and subscribe to the Buggeman and Autodidactic. I'll leave the Boogeyman's link below, and hit the bell and you'll be notified when we upload the second part of this video. And believe me, we haven't even got started. There is so much more good stuff to come. Alright, thank you again. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.